Have you ever wondered if your body is trying to warn you about a stroke long before it happens? Every 40 seconds, someone in the U.S. has a stroke. And the truth is, nearly half of them actually showed early stroke symptoms in the week before. Today, we're breaking down the 9 warning signs that could save your life or the life of someone you love. Have you ever wondered if your body is secretly warning you about a stroke weeks before it happens? Every 40 seconds in the United States, someone suffers a stroke, and every 4 minutes, another American dies from one. But here's the terrifying part. Nearly half of those people actually had clear warning signs days or even weeks in advance, and they ignored them. Think about that. It means thousands of lives could be saved every single year if only we knew what to look for. That's why this video might be the most important one you watch all year. Because your brain doesn't stay silent, it begs you for help, sometimes in ways so subtle you'd never connect them to a stroke. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 9 hidden early stroke symptoms that Americans most often dismiss as just stress or just getting older. By the end, you'll know exactly what to watch for, what could save you or someone you love, and how to act before it's too late. This isn't about statistics, it's about you, your family, your future. So if you've ever felt a strange headache, sudden fatigue, or unexplained dizziness, don't brush it off. What I'm about to share could change the course of your life. Let's start with one of the most overlooked but chilling red flags, the sentinel headache. Imagine this. You wake up one morning with a pounding pain in your head. It's not like the tension headache you've had after a stressful day at work. And it doesn't feel like your usual migraine either. This one is sharper, heavier, and it just won't quit, no matter how many painkillers or cups of coffee you try. Now here's where it gets scary. Medical researchers have a name for this exact phenomenon, the sentinel headache. A study published in the Journal of Headache and Pain followed over 550 adults and found that nearly 15% of stroke patients reported this very type of headache within the week before their stroke. That's not random pain, that's your brain sounding the alarm that blood flow is already being compromised. And yet, most people dismiss it as stress, dehydration, or lack of sleep. Here's the truth: if you ever experience a headache that feels completely different, comes on suddenly, and lingers for days, don't wait. Get checked immediately. It could be your body's last warning before disaster. A simple checkup, even a trip to the ER, could make the difference between recovery and permanent disability. But only knowing this sign is not enough, because your brain has another way of warning you, one that disappears just as quickly as it comes, tricking millions of people into thinking they're safe. And this brings us to the second warning sign that too many people ignore: the transient ischemic attack, or what doctors call a mini stroke. Picture this: you're talking with a friend when suddenly your words slur, your arm feels weak, or your face begins to droop. Panic sets in, and then, just as quickly, everything snaps back to normal. You might even laugh it off, thinking, well, I'm fine now, so it can't be serious. But that is the deadly illusion. Research from the American Heart Association shows that nearly 43% of people who went on to have a major ischemic stroke had experienced a TIA in the week leading up to it. That's almost half of stroke patients who got a full dress rehearsal before the real disaster. Here's why it matters during a TIA. Blood flow to your brain is blocked for just minutes, sometimes hours, then clears on its own. The symptoms vanish, but the risk does not. If you've ever felt sudden weakness, numbness, vision problems, or slurred speech that disappeared within minutes, treat it as a full-blown emergency. Call 911. Don't wait until the real stroke arrives, because by then, the window to prevent permanent brain damage may already be gone. Think of a TIA as your brain's final warning shot. It's saying, I gave you a preview, now do something before the main event begins. But here's the twist: while some signs come and go like this, others sneak in more subtly, hiding in something as ordinary as dizziness or balance issues. And that's where the danger gets even harder to spot. So what happens when the warning doesn't vanish in minutes, but instead creeps in quietly, disguised as something ordinary? That's where dizziness and balance problems come into play. Imagine you're walking down the hallway and suddenly the world tilts, or you're standing in the grocery store and out of nowhere, it feels like the floor is shifting beneath your feet. Most people brush it off. Maybe it's an inner ear problem. Maybe you stood up too fast. But here's the hidden truth: studies from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute confirm that persistent dizziness and balance issues can appear days or even weeks before a stroke. Why? Because the parts of your brain that control balance and spatial awareness are extremely sensitive to changes in blood flow. When those arteries start to narrow or clog, your body often sounds the alarm by making you feel unsteady. And while occasional dizziness can be harmless, recurring episodes, especially when combined with headaches, vision problems, or weakness, are a flashing red light. If your balance keeps betraying you without a clear reason, don't ignore it. Ask your doctor for a vascular check, because early detection can mean the difference between a warning and a wheelchair. Remember, your body whispers before it screams. But the scary part is, sometimes the whispers reach your eyes first, and when your vision suddenly shifts or blurs, it may be your brain's next desperate plea for help. And when your balance starts to betray you, it's often your eyes that join the warning chorus. Vision changes are one of the most underestimated red flags, yet they can be a direct cry for help from your brain. Imagine you're driving on a familiar road and suddenly the lane lines blur, or you're reading your morning newspaper and the text seems doubled or broken into shadows. Some even report flashing lights or blind spots that appear out of nowhere. It's easy to blame this on eye strain, aging, or too much screen time. But here's the truth: peer-reviewed studies show that blurred sight, double vision, or partial vision loss are among the common prodromal symptoms in the days and weeks before a stroke. Why does this happen? Because the occipital lobe, the part of your brain that processes visual information, relies on steady blood flow. When those vessels get compromised, your sight becomes one of the first things to falter. The danger is that these changes often come and go, tricking you into thinking it's nothing serious. But if you notice vision shifts that feel sudden, persistent, or unlike anything you've had before, especially paired with dizziness or headaches, don't wait, get an urgent evaluation. The eyes might be the window to the soul, but in this case, they're also the window to your brain's health. And when your words start to slip away, when your tongue feels heavy, or your sentences come out scrambled, that's when the warning turns from subtle to undeniable. And when your vision starts to blur, the next alarm often shows up in your words. Communication is at the core of who we are. So when speech suddenly slips, it's your brain waving a red flag you cannot afford to ignore. Picture this: you're at dinner with your family, and out of nowhere your tongue feels heavy, your words slur, or you struggle to find the simplest term even though the thought is clear in your mind. Maybe your spouse notices you're talking slower than usual, or a friend asks if you've had a drink when you haven't touched a drop. These moments might feel random, but neurological research shows that slurred speech, garbled words, or trouble understanding others can appear days or even weeks before a stroke. Why? Because the areas of your brain that control speech and comprehension, the Broca's and Wernicke's regions, are extremely sensitive to changes in blood supply. When blood flow drops, even briefly, your ability to process or produce language falters. And here's the catch: unlike headaches or dizziness, which can have many causes, speech problems almost always mean your brain is directly involved. That makes this one of the most urgent warning signs you'll ever get. So if you ever notice your words tangling or your sentences stumbling, don't shrug it off. Treat it like the emergency it is. Call for help immediately, because language is your brain's most fragile gift, and losing it even for minutes is a sign of deep trouble. But language isn't the only function at risk. Sometimes your body itself betrays you, with weakness or numbness striking only one side. And that's when the warning becomes impossible to miss. And when your speech begins to falter, the next warning often strikes in the most unmistakable way: your body itself stops cooperating. Imagine reaching for your morning coffee and realizing your grip feels weak, or climbing the stairs only to notice one leg feels heavier than the other. Sometimes it's even subtler: your face feels strange. A tingling creeps into one side of your arm, or your smile looks uneven in the mirror. We often blame it on sleeping funny or a pinched nerve, but neurological studies confirm that weakness or numbness on one side of the body, what doctors call hemiparesis, is among the most significant early warnings of stroke. This happens because the motor and sensory regions of your brain are already struggling with reduced blood flow. At first, it may feel like a small drop in grip strength or a fleeting numbness, but over days or weeks, these symptoms can grow stronger, signaling that your brain is edging closer to a full shutdown. If you notice weakness, numbness, or tingling that consistently affects one side of your body, don't delay, seek immediate medical help. Every hour counts when brain cells are at risk. Think of it this way. Your body is literally drawing a line down the middle, warning you that half your system is in jeopardy. But here's where the danger turns even more deceptive, because sometimes the warning doesn't come as pain or weakness at all. Sometimes it shows up as something we all dismiss every day, an overwhelming, unexplained fatigue that no amount of rest can cure. And if weakness on one side feels alarming, the next warning can be even more deceptive because it hides in something we all experience: fatigue. But this isn't the normal tiredness after a long day or a late night. This is a deep, bone-crushing exhaustion that lingers no matter how much you rest. Imagine waking up after 8 solid hours of sleep and still feeling like you've been up all night. Even simple tasks like folding laundry or walking the dog feel draining, as though your energy has been stolen. Many stroke survivors later admit they felt this overwhelming fatigue in the weeks before their event, but they blamed it on stress, aging, or the weather. Medical research confirms that unexplained, persistent exhaustion is one of the significant prodromal symptoms of stroke, because your brain and organ that consumes about 20% of your body's energy is struggling to function on reduced blood flow. When oxygen delivery falters, your brain switches into survival mode, conserving energy by slowing you down. That's why you may also notice brain fog, trouble concentrating, or even mild confusion alongside the exhaustion. Here's the key: if you feel unusually drained for days or weeks without a clear reason, especially if it's paired with headaches, speech problems, or weakness, don't brush it off. Get evaluated immediately. This kind of fatigue isn't laziness or aging. It's your brain warning you it can't keep up. And sometimes when your body runs out of energy, the warning doesn't come through tired muscles at all. It comes through your ears, in the form of sudden hearing loss that seems to strike out of nowhere. And sometimes, when fatigue doesn't get your attention, your ears might. Sudden hearing loss may sound unrelated to stroke, but research says otherwise. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing one ear feels muffled, like someone turned down the volume on half the world. Or you're in a conversation and suddenly voices fade on one side, leaving you disoriented and scared. It doesn't gradually build like age-related hearing changes. It strikes fast, within hours or a couple of days, and often without warning. Studies published in PubMed Central reveal that sudden sensorineural hearing loss, especially when paired with vertigo or dizziness, can be an early signal of an ischemic stroke, particularly in the arteries that feed the back of your brain. The inner ear and the balance centers of your brain share the same delicate blood supply. So when those vessels falter, your ears are often the first to feel it. The danger: most people write it off as earwax, allergies, or just getting older, when in reality, it could be the very first sign of a looming stroke. If you ever experience hearing loss that comes on suddenly, especially with dizziness or balance issues, don't delay, see a doctor immediately. A quick hearing test or scan could uncover vascular problems before it's too late, because when your brain starts shutting off senses, it means it's running out of options. And if the warnings aren't heard through your ears, they may come crashing in through a mix of strange, unpredictable neurological symptoms that most people never connect to stroke. And if hearing loss wasn't alarming enough, the final warning sign is perhaps the trickiest of them all, because it doesn't always look like a stroke at first. These are the odd, unpredictable neurological symptoms that sneak up in ways most people would never connect. Imagine suddenly forgetting how to follow a recipe you've made for years, or staring at a sentence and realizing the words don't make sense. Some experience sudden nausea or vomiting without any stomach issues. Others collapse for a moment in what feels like fainting, and a few even suffer a brief seizure out of nowhere. Medical research from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute has documented that confusion. Temporary cognitive lapses, seizures, unexplained nausea, or even brief loss of consciousness can show up hours to weeks before a stroke. These signals happen because critical areas of your brain are being starved of oxygen and blood flow, causing random misfires in the systems that control memory, language, and even balance. The danger is that each of these issues on its own could be dismissed. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's aging, maybe it's just something you ate. But when they appear in clusters, or when they feel new and unusual, they can form a dangerous pattern. If you or someone you love starts to experience strange, unexplained neurological changes, especially when paired with other symptoms we've covered, take it seriously and seek urgent medical care. Your brain is incredibly resilient, but it will only give so many warnings before disaster strikes. And now that we've uncovered all 9 of these hidden early signs, let's pull them together because understanding the pattern could be the key to saving your life or the life of someone you love. So let's bring this all together. We've talked about how the body often whispers its warnings long before disaster strikes, and your kidneys are no different. From subtle fatigue to swelling in your ankles, from changes in urination to unexplained back pain, these signs matter. Your kidneys are silent workhorses, filtering over 50 gallons of blood every single day. And when they start struggling, your entire body feels it. The good news is that kidney health is not out of your control. With awareness, early checkups, and small lifestyle changes, you can protect these vital organs and avoid long-term complications. And I want you to remember, you are not alone in this journey. Millions of people face the same concerns. And with the right knowledge, you can stay ahead of them. If you found this video valuable, share it with someone you love who might need the reminder. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments what's one kidney health tip you already practice, or one sign you're going to start paying more attention to. Your story could help someone else. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and save this video, so you'll always have it to look back on, and so you'll never miss our latest science-backed health insights designed to keep your body strong. Most of all, take this as a message of hope. Your health is not fixed in stone. Every day, every choice, every checkup is a chance to protect your kidneys, extend your independence, and enjoy the life you love. Stay proactive, stay hopeful, and remember your health story is still being written, and you hold the pen.